So for this video, we're going to be looking at using CPCTC. So for each pair of triangles, we're going to first tell why the two triangles are congruent. So by side, 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 side angle, side, etc. Give the congruence statement. And so that's when we had like triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. Then we're going to list all of the other corresponding parts of the triangles that are congruent. And again, we just learned that that is by CPCTC. So let's first look at this first triangle. So I have triangle EJG and triangle FJH. So I noticed that I first have two sides that are congruent. So I have that, and I know that from these tick marks. And then looking at these triangles, I noticed that I also have a pair of vertical angles, and we have learned that vertical angles are also congruent. So that means I have a side, an angle, and a side congruent. So these two triangles are congruent by side, angle, side. And I'm able to use side, angle, side because this angle is the included angle. It's between my two congruent sides. And so I can use this. Next, I need to write my congruency statement. So I'm going to just start with my first triangle is EJG. Now, I remember with congruency statements, the order of these letters for the second one matter because it's telling me what parts are congruent. So, for instance, the first letter in this second part needs to be congruent to angle E. The second letter needs to be congruent to angle J, and so on. And then also the first two letters, like here, EJ, needs to be congruent to the first two letters here that represents this side. So I'm going to start with E. So I noticed here on my first triangle that my angle E is between a side that has one tick mark and a side that does not have a tick mark. So I want to find that same angle on this other one that's corresponding. And I see that's angle H, because angle H is between a side with one tick mark and a side with no tick mark. So I know my first letter is H. J is just going to be J on this side too. That one actually has the same letter. And then I see that for G, G is between two tick marks and no tick marks. And I see that F is between the same. And so there is my congruency statement. And now I'm going to go ahead and list all of my other congruent parts. So I already have two sides that are congruent in my angle. The third side that's congruent I see is going to be EG and FH. And then I know that angle E is congruent to angle H because they're both my first letter. I already have that these two angles are congruent, and that just leaves that angle G is congruent to angle F. And again, you can use your congruency statement for that. Okay, let's try another one. So looking at this second one, I have my two triangles here, and I see I again have two pairs of congruent sides. And then I also see that these two triangles share a side, and then we know by the reflexive property that that means that those sides are also congruent. So I know that this is congruent by side, side, side. Now I need to write my congruency statement, so I have triangle JKM. It's congruent to. So angle J I see is between my one tick mark and my two tick mark. And I see the one that matches up with that is angle L. So that's also between the 1 and 2 tick mark. And then I see that for M is between the 2 and the 3 tick mark. So the one that's also between the 2 and the 3 tick mark is K for my second triangle. And then that just leaves M. And now I need to say my angles are congruent. So I know that angle J is congruent to angle L. And now these next two I have to be careful because I can't just say angle A or angle K, because angle K would be this entire angle. So now for these next two, I need to actually write them out with two letters. So angle JKM. Well, angle JKM, that is between the 1 and 3. And so that's going to match up with LMK. So that's also between the 1 and 3 tick marks. And then just switching those around, angle JMK is congruent to JMK. This angle here is between the 2 and 3. And so that's going to match up with this one, which is angle LKM.